So welcome to the door system tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to learn how to add a door and a pressure plate to activate the door from a distance, and you can use these throughout your level, so you don't need to create new blueprint actors for each door and each pressure plate. So first, make a folder somewhere called door pressure plate, and then make a new actor, blueprint class actor, and call this one door. So inside the door there's going to be a cube, so add a cube, and then also an arrow component, and put the arrow wherever you want the door to open, because the door will be opening sideways or up, it'll be sliding, so just put the arrow in that direction. It doesn't matter if it's exact. So compile and save, and now you can rescale the cube because you want the door to be a good scale, but you can also adjust this when you're in the level and editing each instance of the door. So if you go into the event graph and click variables, add a new variable, and this one will be called door ID, and it will be an integer. Compile and save. The default value will be 0, and you can delete these and custom event. This will be called open, and then you'll add another custom event called close. So custom event close. So now that you have these two, you'll need to figure out how to actually get it to open. It's pretty easy. Select cube and drag it in, and drag off of this move component 2 and connect this to open. So when your door opens, you want the door, see the arrow that you placed anywhere around the door, so you want the door to move to that location so that it just slides perfectly open. So that's about good. Now look here, the location, both of the there should be X, Y, and Z, and one of them will have changed. So see that change? Mine X is 103, yours could be anything. So mine is 103, reset that back to 0, and then set the location for the move to 103, or whatever your number was. So then when open is called, the door will slide all the way here, and that's all that will happen. So now I need it to go back, but first I will ease out to make it go a little slower, and ease in so that it kind of glides to the location, and change the time. Maybe 1 second is good. And then to close the door, just do the same thing. Move component 2, you can copy cube, or you can just use the same cube, move that in here, and change this to over 1, ease out, ease in, and make sure that the relative location is equal to 0, and that will be closing the door back to the original position. So compile and save the door, and that's all we'll do there. Now add blueprint class actor. This will be called pressure plate. Inside the pressure plate, add a static mesh or a cylinder or whatever shape you want. I'll be doing a cylinder to make it look more like a button. So there is your static mesh. So save this. It could be a cube or anything that looks like a pressure plate that you could step on. And it'll be very similar to the door in that we're going to be using move component 2, but I will change this so that event begin overlap, event actor begin overlap. And now that I'm thinking of overlap, I need to remember to change this so that there is overlap all collision on the static mesh. And if you want to make it so you can activate it from a little further away, add a box collision to this, and make the box collision whatever size you want, and make sure that this is overlap all or overlap all dynamic. So now you have both of these, so you're sure that it's gonna be overlapped. Then the other actor, cast 2, whatever your player character is. So when your player character steps on this button, then it will activate. So first of all, you will need this to, you'll need to move component 2, move the static mesh, and you'll move this just down a little bit, test it out, maybe -40 would be good. So Z is -40, and you don't need to ease out and in there, maybe over 0.4 seconds would be good. So you have that, then event after end overlap, so when you're no longer touching the player, then you can, first of all, if you want a delay so that it waits a little bit before closing the door, you can just do a delay. So delay, maybe 3 seconds is good. Come up with your own number, and you'll now move the static mesh back to location of 0. But right now, all this is doing is making the pressure plate go down and up. It's not actually going to get the door, and that's where first you're going to make a pressure plate ID, which will be another integer variable, and then you are going to set this so that it is instance editable. Just click right there, the I, and click expose on spawn, and do the same thing with the ID for the door also. This is so that you can edit each instance of it. So now get all actors of class, and the class will be door, and then get a copy of this. So this is all of the door actors. This is getting one of those actors based on the number. Actually no, this is for each loop. I was gonna do door ID, but that number is different. So for each loop, then get door ID, and also make a new variable called door. This will be a door reference, so type in door and select object reference. Then you going to set door. So if the door ID is equal integer to the pressure plate ID, then, so you do a branch, then set door to that specific array element. So this will do this for each of the doors, so it can find all of the doors that are of the same ID number, which is how you're going to be getting the right door to open. Then once it's completed, then it'll get door and open. Because door is already a reference, you don't need to cast it to door, so now it'll just open. And if you want to make sure that it works in case you accidentally forgot to add a specific door, you can say is valid, do the question mark, and then if it is valid, then open. So this will open the door. Then you can copy this whole thing and also make sure that your pins are connected. So copy and paste it. Now you can do the exact same thing, except if it's valid, close the door and connect them, compile, save. So it should look somewhat like this. Now what you can do is go into your world and place the pressure plate somewhere and set the pressure plate ID to any number. I'm gonna just keep it 0, and then add a door somewhere in the world. Make sure it's rotated, and the arrow that you added before is the direction that the door will open. So if you want the door to open a specific way, just point at the direction of the arrow. So you have the door, and make sure the door ID is 0, the button ID is 0, or the pressure plate ID is 0. So that will be 0, and then to test it, pressure plate ID will be 1 for a duplicate of that. Copy and paste, door ID will be 1. So So now if I walk forwards, press on the pressure plate, the door opens in the direction that I wanted, and then it will close after the 3 seconds, which I set before. Then if I step on this one, then that one opens, and then it closes. And then if you want it to be more instantaneous, you can change this delay that we added right here to just maybe 0.5 seconds. You can also make the doors open a little faster, because that seems kind of slow. But just change the numbers and your doors will open and close. And you can add them. Just remember to change the ID number of each pressure plate and each door, because if you don't, then multiple pressure plates could be opening the same door and things would just go wrong. So that is the tutorial.